I decided, let me roll my windows up so y'all won't hear all the traffic and everything. But I decided it was on my heart to go live today at this time. Not at this time, but I was just like, I might as well do it right now. But I know a lot of people are dealing with, first let me say this. I know that this is like a happy month, a happy holiday. Everybody's joyful. Everybody's supposed to. So a lot of people are dealing with grief. And those who are dealing with grief, grief hits you at different times and in different ways. And for me, I had never really dealt with for as someone very, very, very close to me. Now, I've had like grandparents to pass away due to old age, or I've had people to pass away in my life, but I really wasn't just like with them. So I never really dealt with losing someone and it felt like you losing part of yourself or your heart. But during the holidays, it's really hard when you lose someone, especially if it's their favorite holiday. Like my father, his favorite holiday was Christmas. And I can remember when we would be cooking dinner with my mom in the kitchen, and my dad would be in the living room watching Home Alone. That was his favorite movie to watch around the holidays. I mean, on that day, on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, that's all he's gonna watch is Home Alone. It's gonna play over and over and over and over again. All of them. All of them was gonna play over and over again. We just have to be ready for that. But I mean, it didn't bother us because we knew that's what my daddy loved. But when he passed away, it's just like, and I tell people like my friends and my family all the time, it seemed like he was just here yesterday, and it's been 3 years since he's been gone. But it seemed like just yesterday I had a conversation with him. That's odd and that's weird because he's been gone 3 years, but it seems like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. But people deal with grief in many different ways. And with me, I didn't know how to deal with grief. When my dad first passed away, I didn't know what to do. I know I cried all the time, but as far as how to act and how to be, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to, I think I lashed out. My mom told me I lashed out because the way I could talk to my daddy, I can't talk to nobody else. My daddy loved to hear me argue, fuss, and fight with him. That's just something that we always did, and he'd be like, Mary, that girl's just crazy. But that was just the relationship me and my daddy had. So I was so used to that when my daddy passed, I missed it. So I started kind of doing it with my mom. And mom was like, hey, I'm not going for that. That's why you talk to your daddy. Don't talk to me like that. It wasn't in a disrespectful way. She took it as a disrespectful way, but that's just the relationship me and my dad had. Like, my dad could go do something like, Daddy, why is you doing that? Now, you're not supposed to be doing that, but that's just the way me and my dad talk. So when he passed away and when the holidays started coming around, I really saw different, different aspects on how I carried out the holidays. My mom's house, when I pull up, my first thought was, oh, Daddy's truck here, I'm going to go say this and this to Daddy or whatever. And, oh, no, it's a G. It's Gucci. I'm sorry. It's a G. But yard, my first thought process, my daddy here, but my daddy wasn't there. It was just his truck there. And then as far as like when I'm in the house, my daddy's a farmer, right? So he would always be coming in and out the driveway, or he would always be walking back and forth in the yard. So my first aspect would be looking outside, like, where daddy is, because I would always see my daddy. But for people that have lost somebody during the holidays, it's really hard. And my encouragement is to you, just keep going, keep pushing, because grief come in different ways. Sometimes I could be like something break in my house or in my shop. The first thought of, I'm gonna call Daddy to see if he can come fix it. And I get ready to pick up my phone, I can't call him, and it's like I can't call my daddy. My daddy's not here. But it's just it's really different from people. And I can actually say when I used to have friends that say, they lost somebody real close to them, you would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry for your loss," or "I feel what you're coming from." But if you've never been in a position, you really don't know how that feels. You really can't feel where they're coming from because you've never really felt that. So when I did lose my dad, it was like, dang, now I know how they feel. It's not just a hurt for like a couple of hours. It's a hurt for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? It's a feeling that you feel for the rest of your life. It's not just you feel it one way one day and then you don't feel it the next day. It's an everyday process, and it's not one. My daddy been gone for 3 years. It's not one day that I have not thought about my daddy, and that's weird, isn't it? Because you like 365 days in a year, and you telling me it's not one day. It's not one day. Even it's just a thought. It just pop up in my head. Oh, my daddy used to wear stuff like that. Oh, he favored my daddy. He dressed like my. It's just little different things make you think of that person, and it's weird because I've heard people say that before, but I never really understood until I was in that position. And then also, be kind hearted. You never know what people are going through at the time that, you might think that they're mean mugging or you go in the store and they might have an attitude, but you never know what they may be dealing with, because I caught myself a lot, getting mad at somebody at the store or walking and somebody speaking to me, and I'm hearing them speak to me, but it's not registering to me that they're speaking to me at that time. So I'm like, if people was like, I thought you just had an attitude that day. No, I'm sorry. I was just blank. My mind was gone. And after that happened, and literally like maybe a few months later on, I started realizing people you might see in the store might have an attitude. You don't know. They could have just lost a loved one. They could have just got some bad news. They could have just had, a health scare or whatever. And us to judge them and be like, man, they just got an attitude, or, you want to pop off at them. Hey, you must have didn't want to work today. You must have didn't want to come to work today. You never know what they may be dealing with. So that was just my encouragement for today, especially about the grief around the holidays, because it's difficult. It's really difficult. You would think after 3 years of somebody, I mean, it gets better. I'm not going to say it doesn't get better. It gets better as the time goes on, but it's still to cope with it. And we always talk about my daddy on holidays. We laugh. We talk about when we used to play charades and games and different stuff like that. Get off this in a minute. But just keep in mind of those who have lost somebody during the holidays. Keep in mind they are going through something. They are dealing with something, and you never know what they may be dealing with. But happy holidays to everybody. I keep getting interrupted by phone calls, but happy holiday to everybody. I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and see you soon.